What's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Got an NFL fact here for you that I think you're all gonna enjoy. Well, no time like the present to be late to the party. And with that, the end of the season is upon us, and with the Super Bowl being played 3 weeks ago, that is a wrap for the 2024 NFL season. And what a season it was. Well, could have been better unless you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but congratulations to you all, and of course the team for their dominating championship win. And hey, speaking of, there was a ton of super stats in this big bowl game between the Kansas City Chiefs and of course the EAGLES, Eagles. And when I say a ton, there just might be around 2,000 relevant facts and stats that went down in this one. But unlike Saquon, we'll limit ourselves and not make it to 2,000. Don't need to be here all day and night. So let's get back to life, back to reality, and get jiggy with it. Because until summertime, we won't have the chance to do another weekly stats and facts video for the season. So sit back and watch how the Eagles not only thought that they could beat Mike Tyson's favorite team, probably, but did. Oh, and the Chiefs made some history too. So no worries, Chiefs fans. You may have lost, but I got you some stats to help you cope through it. So enough meandering, let's get to the good stuff. Let's fly like an eagle to the sea and see for ourselves what went down in the Big Easy. On the verge of a three-peat, history was made, but not in the way that we were expecting come Sunday morning. On the world's biggest stage in front of 240 million eyes, or, around 128 million people, assuming some people don't have the correct amount of eyes to see the game. The Eagles and their David vs. Goliath moment embedded quite the impression upon NFL history. First off, the Philadelphia Eagles as a team had a stellar postseason run, coming off their franchise's best season of all time, getting 18 total wins. And in doing so, they also joined the New England Patriots and of course the Kansas City Chiefs themselves as the only three teams in the last 15 seasons to have multiple Lombardis under their belt. And the Eagles poured on the points, getting the most points ever scored in a single postseason run, bumping down the 1994 San Francisco 49ers and their 131 points by 2 whole scores, popping that number up to 145. Their electric Super Bowl outing definitely had a lot to do with that too, as they are now tied for having the most drives in a Super Bowl that ended in a score, getting 8 in that game. As a team in the postseason, the Eagles rushed for a combined 818 yards on the ground, which puts them at numero uno all-time, beating out the then 1982 Washington Redskins for the top spot. Their rushing attack led up front by what is now the heaviest offensive line that has ever played in a Super Bowl, weighing in at a whopping 1,690 pounds. Whoa, that's a lot of beef. There you go, Clara.
Where is the beef?
Found it. And that was just preseason weight. That's not accounting for the bulk they put on during the season by lifting and including Thanksgiving and Christmas Day meals. The leading rusher of the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts, who now has the most starts in a Super Bowl by an Eagles quarterback, also now has the most rushing yards in a Super Bowl by any quarterback all time, accounting for 72 yards. This beating out, well, himself back in 2022 when he got 70 yards in that game. Thus, he joins himself in Super Bowl 57, Lynn Dawson in Super Bowl 1, John Elway in Super Bowl 21, Steve Young in Super Bowl 29, Cam Newton in Super Bowl 50, and Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 58 as the only quarterbacks to lead their team in rushing in a Super Bowl. And now one of only 3, the other 2 being Patrick Mahomes and Steve Young, as the only ones to do it in a win. Hurts, after this impressive playoff run, pun intended, also has the most postseason rushing touchdowns by any quarterback ever, getting brotherly shoved past Steve Young for that honor.
I think I'm the one who pushes the tush.
In addition, their rushing leader for the entire postseason, Saquon Barkley, backwards hurdled his way into the history books himself with a superhuman-esque season, falling just short of the Dickerson line, or, the record for most rushing yards in a regular season. It didn't seem to faze him a bit as he continued his dominance into the playoffs, rushing for the third most all-time yards in a single postseason ever, behind only John Riggins' 610 yards in 1982 and Terrell Davis's 581 in 1997. Saquon gathering a very respectable 499 in his playoff push. In doing so, he may not have reached the regular season milestone, but through his combined total for the entire season, post and regular, he was able to rack up enough ground yards to eke out Hall of Fame running back and Denver Broncos legend Terrell Davis for that top spot. TD before Saquon passed him up, sitting at both 1 and 2 for the all-time rushing yards in a single season. Wow, talk about dominance. And Sense is now in second and third all-time. But with that, Saquon now sits atop the peak of all running backs ever at 2,504 yards ran for in a season. This outdoing Davis's 2,476 yards. Saquon this season also surpassed Davis for the most scrimmage yards total in a full season, gaining 2,857 total yards. Davis having had 2,762 during the same 1998 Super Bowl winning campaign. And in mentioning that, it's also of note that Saquon, with a Lombardi hoisting of his own, joined both Terrell Davis and Emmitt Smith as the only running backs in NFL history to achieve both the NFL's rushing title and win a Super Bowl in the same season. Nice. What a great day for the birthday boy on that side of the ball. More on that later. Then, of course, the Eagles defense, hot off the press like the newspaper saying they're champions was 3 weeks ago. Whoops. Their fresh prints are still being felt throughout the NFL world and will be for a long time. No, they certainly did stamp their mark on that game though. I mean, from the first snap on, they absolutely dominated the entire game outside of just a few plays and what you could refer to at that point, even with as much time and opportunity as there was, as garbage time. That being said, the Eagles bombarded the Chiefs with, well, about 4 dudes every play, having blitzed for a grand total of 0 times in the entire game. Just the 4th time since 2016, when that stat was first recorded in depth, that a team decided to not send a single extra guy. But there was seemingly no need to though, as with 42 dropbacks, the Eagles were able to apply the heat 16 times, or 38%, and get 6 sacks, which is tied for second most ever on Super Sunday. Now, the birthday boy on that side of the ball, Cooper DeJean, had maybe the defining play of the entire game, when with his first career interception came up with maybe the biggest interception he'll ever make in his life. Pick 16 future Hall of Fame quarterback Patrick Mahomes. And all I gotta say is pretty fly for a white guy. No, but enough of that. That ain't what makes it cool. What makes it cool is that it was on his birthday. I mean, that's awesome. And what better a birthday gift than to return home to celebrate? That play making him only the 2nd player ever to score a touchdown on their birthday in the NFL title game, having not been done since former Philadelphia Eagle, NFL legend, and possibly number 1 on the list for NFL presidential sounding names, gotta be in the top 3, Steve Van Buren did it back in 1947, way before the Super Bowl was even a thing, hence the wording NFL title game. But the Eagles didn't stop there, as All-Pro and possibly the sneakiest offseason stud signing, Zach Baun, not only called his shot,
it's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna get one.
But got himself one too. A pivotal one as well, as it led to a huge last minute of the half touchdown to put them up by 24, and yet again shut down the Chiefs and obliterated their morale before the half even ended. And feel free to read into that however you'd like. But that half ending with 0 points for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is just the 3rd time in the Patrick Mahomes era, with Patrick starting the game of course, that the Chiefs have been completely shut out in a first half of a game, and it is the lowest yardage for them in a first half in that same span. In fact, the Eagles defense was so suffocating that it was the first time in Super Bowl history that a team did not have a single snap on the opponent's side of the ball in the first half, which is wild. Guess you could say the Chiefs really dropped the ball on that one. Anyway, alright, I get it. The Eagles had a great game, but the Kansas City Chiefs, however, despite the loss, did not completely get shut out of history themselves, nor make history as the first team ever to be shut out in a Super Bowl, as they got a few scores in to make the final seem a bit more respectable than it actually was, and their season was quite historical in its own right. They too had the most wins they've ever had as a franchise in a season, tying their total team best of 17 in 2022, but regular season only, getting their most ever with 15 wins, beating their 14 that they got also in 2022, and also in 2020. Playing in their 5th Super Bowl in 7 seasons, and already cemented as a dynasty, winning 3 of those 5, the Chiefs in that span have the most postseason victories ever in a 7-season stretch, as well as the most regular season wins all time within that same period. This season, they also had a peculiar but crucially awesome stat when, for the first time in NFL history, had 3 different kickers come in and kick game-winning field goals, which no other team has ever accomplished. Those kickers being Harrison Butker, of course, and when he went down, Matthew Wright and Spencer Schrader came in to clutch out a couple victories themselves. And in that vein, another silver lining for all of you Chiefs fans out there, since this game was a few scores out of your team's reach, you still have an ongoing active record streak of 1-score game wins under your belt, which is currently sitting at 17 straight games and counting, and is going to be a very solid stat to keep an eye on moving forward. But hey, at least one Chiefs player was able to three-peat, or I guess more accurately, currently former Chief, but nonetheless, as a winner of the 2022 and 2023 Super Bowls, as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, was able to capture his 3rd straight this season as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. His name, Darian Kinnard, a primarily backup practice squad relegated offensive tackle, but one that now, in just his 3rd year as a pro, will have just as many Super Bowl rings. And the only other player to be able to say they've done the same thing is professional football player and amateur boxer Ken Norton Jr., who got a couple with the Cowboys before joining the 49ers to get his 3rd. And side note, yet relevant, if the Chiefs had indeed won, Ken Norton Jr. would have been joined by 29 other players who have been on the Chiefs for each of the last 3 seasons. But alas, the club remains ultra exclusive with just him and Darian Kinnard in the house. How about that? And maybe Corey too. No, anyway. And again, great job, Eagles. The Eagles putting in their blood, their sweat, and their tears into this defining victory, and with that, it was a win well earned, and for them, not only did they have their cake, they were able to eat it too, and wash it down with a cold, refreshing Gatorade shower. And to the other 31 NFL clubs, good luck and try again next year. The 2024 NFL champions have taken their place upon the NFL's mountaintop and have, to borrow an Iron Chef classic, reigned supreme. And hey, even though the NFL football season has officially ended, the event world is still ripe for the picking, with the NBA in full swing, NHL going on, MLB, even some spring football leagues about to pop up if you're looking to scratch that football itch, that is, and much more than just sports, concerts, plays, comedy, speeches, you name it, you can probably get it if you soar on over to SeatGeek, a proud sponsor of SVTV and the world's best ticketing app and website. With their state-of-the-art seating chart, you don't have to take any LIX, and you can just get your ticks. And maybe I could have chose better wording for that slogan, but damn it if it didn't fit the way it did. So yeah, anyway, you can get even more bang for your buck. Just use code SVTV for $20 off your first ticket purchase, and don't you miss out on watching something worth seeing anymore. Alright, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one, and peace out.
Got him one. I can put that in that damn trophy case now. Been looking at it blank for 2 years.